Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. It's a beautiful day in New York. We have a really great topic for our webinar today on engagement marketing beyond the CMS and marketing automation, presented by Bridgeline Digital. First off, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Alex Combos. I'm the SVP of Marketing and Growth here at Bridgeline. I'll be your host for today. I'm really excited to discuss this topic as it's a problem with many organizations. I'd like to remind everyone, if you have questions throughout the presentation, please enter them into the question box and we will address them at the very end. So here's a look at the topics that we'll be covering today. We'll talk about the changes in the landscape over the last 5 to 7 years and how that has impacted how customers view and engage with brands and companies. Then we'll dive into the 5 strategies one by one. And at the end, we'll touch upon the various technologies that can help execute these strategies. Most of these methodologies apply to both B2B and B2C. And at the end, we'll leave you with some key takeaways, and we can finish up with Q&A. Okay. So let's kick it off with what has changed in the past 5 to 7 years. How has the landscape really transformed? We're talking about marketing, and as marketers, we're trying to do all these things: build a brand, grow revenue, and prove our impact. These goals are the root cause of everything that keeps us up at night. And why are we awake at night thinking about all these objectives? Well, because achieving these goals is more challenging now than ever before. This is because the relationships between customers and brands has changed fundamentally. The customer experience has evolved. We're all experiencing a multi-channel, multi-screen engagement with everything around us. Think about it. Your experience with your bank and your personal accounts. Think about how you buy products and try services today versus in 2012 or 2010. Think about what you share now versus what you used to share back in 2012. This new multi-screen, multi-channel approach is yielding engagement which is measurable in many different levels that we haven't had in the past. And you can't connect without context. Everyone is different. Different people, different cultures, different languages, different environments, and an almost infinite range of situations. From a professional standpoint here at Bridgeline, working across many different industries, what our customers have found is that the world has changed. And traditional ways of marketing with a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work anymore. Customer expectation is that you will engage with a specific individual in the moment. And it's all about me, now, on my device, with what I want for my specific situation and in my language. And on top of all that, I want it fast. Also, attention span has been reduced from 12 seconds to around 8 seconds in the last 10 years. And that expectation is higher than ever for a tailored and contextual experience. And with high expectations and low attention, mastering the delivery of contextual experiences is really, really vital. With all this effort, you still need to think about the customer and their expectation that you will engage with them as a segment of one. And you need to think differently about digital marketing, and you need to act really fast. So first, expectations have increased. Customers only want to work with brands that care about them. These days, they value experiences more than the price and feel that the best brands are delivering above their expectation across the whole customer journey. Brands also have to meet these expectations across expanding customer touchpoints. This is email, web, mobile, social, and ads. Customers move freely across these channels, and they expect you to deliver meaningful, continuous interactions throughout this. And making this happen usually falls on our shoulders. I mean, us, the marketing department. We're really the ones who can reach the savvy customers. Think about it. Customers are now doing all the legwork on their own without your sales team and without making direct contact. All this by doing research, comparing prices, looking at reviews, etc. Which means that brands have to cultivate demand where sales can't go. That's a big task. And customers are entitled. They're not just empowered. This means that we have extremely high expectations now versus 5 or 10 years ago. And honestly, who can blame them? We're one of them. In essence, technology has created entitlement, added stress, and adjusted our values. We refer to our constant connection to the digital world as being always addressable. So Forrester conducted a survey here in North America for the last several years. And let's look at this phenomenon. Most people connect to the internet with 3 or more devices. Now, they're always connected to the internet versus connecting 3 or 4 times a day 5 years ago. And they use the phone or tablet device always versus only when they were out of the home or office 5 years ago. In 2011, just over half of Americans self-reported as being always addressable. Last year, that number rose to about 2/3. So what does this really mean? It creates the expectation that I can get what I want in my immediate context and moment of need, period. And these moments are unique. They're unique to mobile also. Have you ever had a discussion in your company about who owns the customer? The truth is nobody owns the customer, but somebody always owns the moment. And that moment could be pre-sale, it could be viewing an ad, it could be using a product or testing a product, or requesting service after the product was sold. So, and there are 30 billion mobile moments per second. That's a really big number. And for businesses, this means that there's a need of immediacy, there's brand democratization, and data proliferation. At the same time, digital is creating stressful distractions for our brains. And to understand firsthand the psychology of end consumers around decision making, Forrester conducted a market research on their online community to tell them about big and small decisions they had made recently. And they discovered some pretty interesting insights. Choosing a loan stressed out the community members. Of about 200 comments in their community, words like stressed, worry, anxiety, regret were mentioned 75 times, 75 out of 200. They spoke of stress when describing all types of decisions, no matter if they were big or small. And some even indicated that stress continued as self-doubt even after the decision was complete. Now, that's a lot of anxiety. Well, the bottom line is that option overload creates decision fatigue. And we have thousands of choices to make. You are choosing right now to answer emails coming through or ignore them and just pay attention to this webinar, right? Processing these decisions leads to decision avoidance and automatic response to decisions. And all these are based on desires of comfort, not logic. So in summary, technology has changed customer behaviors and values. And as a result, this really defines the business requirements and the competitive strategy. So how do we become more engaging? We have to change our point of view. And the first order of business is to become customer obsessed. And I'll explain what that means. As mentioned, technology has changed how people, actually how customers live, work, and spend. Empowered customers are causing seismic economic and market shift. They're reshaping industry, they're creating winners and losers. They're forcing businesses to evolve. Thus, there are big consequential decisions and actions to be made. And these business and technology leaders are charged with reorienting their organizations about the customer in order to win, serve, and retain them. And we here at Bridgeline have lots of experience working with clients in these critical moments. And we'll go into a couple of examples in a little bit. So doing this at an enterprise scale, thousands, probably millions of people require complete digital transformation. And that transformation that allows you to have these personalized conversations at scale and deliver customer lifetime value. And central to that is putting the customer at the epicenter of everything that your organization does. You have to make your customer the center of your total operating model. Forrester actually calls this customer obsession. And in order to do this, you have to shift focus. You have to shift from customer aware to customer led. Start studying customer motivations to understand why and use that drive to drive business decisions across your organization. Shift from data rich to insight driven. Focus on data intelligence, not just data volume. And a good example is MGM Resorts, who by using interactions with their in-room control console led to 600% increase in breakfast orders just by timing breakfast offers to when people set their alarms. It's very simple. You also have to shift from perfect to fast. Now, launching internal and external efforts in order to stay in front of market demand is pretty tough to do, but it's something that you have to be get in front of. At South by Southwest in 2014, 7-Eleven, the retail chain, opened up its data to developers, and only for a 12-hour period. This gave them hundreds of apps to consider for using, and this is for these apps and ideas were not perfect, but they really came fast to market. Another shift is from siloed to connected, and the best way to explain this is with Constellation Brands, which has a technology innovation team that is funded by the company to collaborate between marketing, product, and IT to identify new ways to use technology and improve. Now, the key here is to making design thinking productive, and is to apply across all of the fundamental operational pieces of your business. Think of being customer-led, insight-driven, fast, and connected across your company's people, process, and technology. We've broken people, process, and technology down even further to better analyze this. So structure is the first one, which is really the structure of the organization. Culture, it's the shared values and beliefs that drive behavior. Processes is the ways that people work and make decisions. And technology are the systems that enable these processes. And then we have talent hiring, like development and retention practices, and lastly, metrics, which are the strategic measurements that drive business decisions. So I'll close this segment with an example with the Bank of Montreal. And they put their customers at the epicenter of their business. And this is evident by a few simple indicators on the executive level. There are 31 mentions of the customer in their letter to the shareholders. There are 2 of 5 strategic priorities are all customer focused. And training makes customers the center of every role. Now, our second strategy is having a post-digital mindset. And I'll explain what this means in a little bit. You need to change your mindset. Post-digital marketing doesn't need more technology, nor a host of new processes. In fact, if you balance the best of your previous practices in a way that has never been done before, you can throw out what is no longer applicable. And to do this, you need to think differently about the world, the marketing function, and the role you play in your organization. So in the pre-digital world, we had the one-to-many scenario. The objective is really broad reach, building awareness, filling the funnel. It's really simple, and it's a numbers game. Now, in the digital world, which is the one-to-one scenario, it's about driving relevance. And digital brought the craze over personalization and one-to-one marketing. And in this world, and actually for the last 15 years or so, the mantra has been to deliver the right message to the right person in the right place and at the right time. And I bet the vast majority of you are really increasing your digital marketing spend this year, or have already. And because actually digital marketing is on its way to becoming a $103 billion industry. And this year, 2017, digital ad spend will surpass traditional TV for the first time in history. It's really a pivotal moment. But now let's go into the post-digital scenario, and that is the one-to-moment scenario. Now marketers must take personalization to the next level. Each customer will have a different context, a different emotional state, different needs every time they interact. Success requires the best of brand marketing, direct marketing, digital marketing, all really rolled up into an integrated approach that delivers what the brand promises in every moment. And in this case, the best way is to look at a car buying experience. You compare models, you find dealers, you take a test drive, you negotiate the price, you sign the contract, the lease, or buy it, or whatever. But what about after that? You know that the person who's buying this will plan a road trip. What are you going to do about that? And eventually they're going to schedule an oil change or order parts or accessories, right? How do you intend to stay relevant? Remember, customers feel entitled, and it's not about the price anymore. It's about the experience and how they relate to the brand. And because of that, that drives their purchases. And that's really, really huge. Now, if you're thinking all this is a lesson of customer service after the sale and not marketing, you really need to stop thinking that way. Post-digital marketers have to think of marketing holistically, not just advertising. You have to be human, relate to the problem, put yourself in their situation. You have to be helpful and solve the problem. And sometimes you have to be, in most cases, you have to be handy, which really means going above and beyond and making sure they're 100% satisfied, because those reviews make a big difference. So your charter as a post-digital marketer is to help your brand develop the characteristics that come so naturally to a good sales or service rep, like the need of being human, helpful, and handy, but at scale. Now, the next strategy is reaching customers where they hang out. And this sounds pretty easy and simple. Success with engagement requires a series of micro-conversions that lead to customer conversions, right? Some examples are webinar registrations, email subscriptions, social shares, etc. The solution is really simple. You need to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and who you're doing it for. The connected customer interacts with your brand across many touch points, online, in the store, on the go, and each of these interactions is a micro moment, and this is where it all begins. Micro moments are really critical touch points within today's consumer journey, and when we add them all together, they ultimately determine how that journey ends. Another recent and very relevant layer of information is the customer context. Context provides a new and effective tool to enable accurate and relevant just-in-time steps to deliver the next best action. And this really maximizes conversions. An individual's context includes multiple dimensions. It could be location, it could be time, like time of the day, time of the week, access type, like what kind of device, what kind of browser, what kind of app, proximity, in some cases like shops or attractions, nearby transportation or nearby people. Actions is a major thing. Might be searching. They might be currently playing something, a video game or music. might be shopping at a store. Physiology, heart rate, emotional or stress levels that can be determined by wearables. And then the environment, weather, temperature, all that plays a huge role. Now, the old school traditional customer life cycle followed a simple sequential path: discover, explore, engage, and buy. Now, this is now being replaced by a non-linear journey spanning multiple touch points. Customers interact across touch points ranging from product searches, information gathering, price comparisons, reviews, ratings, to actual doing the purchase and then sharing the feedback. And in order to detect patterns leading to a purchase and understand the post-purchase behavior, you must not only identify each customer uniquely, but you have to analyze the data that is generated by all these various channels. And another thing here is product recommendations. They constitute the first step in personalizing the user experience. The algorithm for these product recommendations has really evolved from back in the day, you may also like, to really intelligent recommendations. Now companies are linking product recommendations with the customer's in-session activities, their basket affinity of products, and they link products to drive personalization use cases. So while this is all definitely, good steps forward, enterprise-wide personalization has a much wider implication on the customer experience. And you have to also remember that contextual personalization scenarios can reduce the acquisition and the retention cost of customers. That plays a huge role for your bottom line. Next, we have mapping the micro moments, and this is related to what we were just talking about. As mentioned before, success with engagement requires a series of micro conversions that ultimately lead to customer conversions. And these moments are comprised by countless interactions like texting a spouse with a carpool update, replying to a quick work email while you're online at Starbucks, or posting pictures from your vacation just to make other people jealous. Now, these types of moments are part of everyday life, but they're not moments when we're necessarily looking to engage with brands. And if a brand tries to kind of butt in with a irrelevant message, we just swipe it away. We actually get aggravated. But in other moments, we're very open to the influence of brands. And these are the moments when we want help informing our choices for making decisions. And for marketers, these moments are an open invitation to engage. And they are the moments that you really have to be ready for. To understand how to reach customers in the right place at the right time, you need to map users' micro moments from start to finish. And these are, I want to know moments, I want to go moments, I want to buy, and I want to do moments. They're all loaded with intent, context, and immediacy. And these are the moments when we turn to a device, usually our phone, to take action on whatever we need or whatever we want right now. And these are sequential, and they're triggered by curiosity and need. Our digital lives connect us to our physical world, and that customer journey looks a lot different today than it did in 2010 or in 2012 or even 2015. And it's not just a story of more mobile usage. Since we can take action on any need or curiosity at any time of the consumer's decision journey, this as a result has fractured the journey into hundreds of tiny decision-making moments. And at every stage of the funnel, from inspiring vacation plans to buying a new blender or learning how to do, install a new shelf. A good guiding principle is this: you have to be across all these stages of the consumer journey, not just when somebody is ready to buy. And to accomplish this, consider these 4 key moment types that we talked about, representing the full range of user needs. You have to be there. You've got to anticipate the micro moments for users in the industry, and then commit to being there to help when those moments occur. You have to be useful. You've got to be relevant to consumers' needs in the moment and connect people to the answers that they're looking for. And lastly, you have to be quick. They're micro moments for a reason, because users want to go, buy, and do everything that they need swiftly. And your user experience has to be fast and really frictionless. And let's talk about a real-life example here. Red Roof Inn mastered all of these strategies in one simple campaign. When the company realized that flight cancellations were leaving about 90,000 passengers stranded every day, the marketing team developed a way to track flight delays in real time. And then they triggered targeted search ads for Red Roof Inns near airports for the people that were stranded. And these ads said, really, stranded at the airport, come and stay with us, we have a discount. And these are committed moments to those consumers who, at that point, had a I need a hotel ASAP moment. And they were delivered with relevance, and it was exactly what they needed. And they had remarkable results. They increased their bookings across all non-branded search campaigns. Now, let's talk about real-time content, because this is important when it comes to engagement. In our fast-paced world, it's really important that your marketing plan stays current. That's where real-time marketing comes in. Instead of creating a plan ahead of time with a set schedule, real-time marketing uses relevant trends to connect with consumers. The objective here is to market a service or a product that consumers need during current or major events. And most real-time marketing takes place on social media platforms, but it's not just about producing current marketing content. It's also about responding to questions, reviews, statements from consumers on social media. These responses are indirect methods of marketing and really shows consumers you're listening to them and taking their voice into consideration. And with real-time marketing, time is a luxury we really can't afford. For that, you need to be a good listener, and you need also to set realistic goals. And the best way to ensure a strategy for real-time marketing is to add it to your existing plan. This can take many forms. Quick response to mainstream events, dynamic personalized content, timely location-based messages, and brand event promotions are probably the best examples. Now, this is an interesting example here. A few years ago, Arby's, the sandwich chain, posted to Farrell, can we have our hat back? Because the hat that he was wearing was resembling the hat and the logo that Arby has. And this happened at the Grammys. And as a result, this had thousands of retweets pretty much immediately. Now, to top that off, Farrell asked on Twitter if they wanted to start a roast beef with him, which made this go even more viral because there was an instant reaction. Even other global brands like Pepsi and Hyundai comment on this, which is really an odd level, a new level of meta marketing. But it's interesting to see how everything is being done in real time. Another example of real-time marketing and actually a post-digital mindset is Southwest Airlines. So they experienced a massive technology failure, and they had huge portions of their computer system inoperable for about 12 hours. And to get back on track, the airline had to cancel about 2,000 flights in 12 hours. And that caused, a 4-day tsunami of customer frustration. And from the very beginning, the Southwest online reps took complete ownership of the crisis. They apologized, and they were evidently very sincere to all their customers at every turn, both in social media and in explanatory content on their website. They took an innovative way, an effective approach to humanizing the situation, and they used Facebook Live video to keep customers informed. and to underscore their apologies. Really, they were praised by everyone, including the media, for this. This is a really good example of real-time marketing. So it's about more than delivering conversions. It doesn't only influence buying decision, but also impacts how a customer feels about a brand and whether they would recommend it to someone else. In addition, study respondents from agencies and companies agreed that the top benefits of real-time marketing were better customer experience, improved conversion rates, improved customer retention, much better brand perception, opportunity to personalize the marketing, the overall marketing messaging, and especially offers. They also saw an increased average order value and higher profit margins on those real-time offers. These have a huge impact on the bottom line. So we talked about these strategies, talking about going beyond the CMS and automation. However, these are exactly that. These are strategies. And in order to execute at a meaningful scale, you need technology behind you. You need to capture the right behavior data, the right structure, you need the right website, obviously, the ability to analyze and visualize it, and the ability to automate campaigns across channels and then measure the impact and optimize. And you are the brain of the strategy, but technology is really the engine that drives it. And for this next segment, I wanted to explain a little bit about what we have found to be important in marketing tech. So when it comes to selecting technology, we often see IT departments ask marketing for features, a feature wish list. At Bridgeline here, we don't really advocate for this, but in the event that you can't deviate from this process, we've highlighted some key features that I believe that you really can't live without. And these are mentioned in the slide here. Prescriptive analytics, cross-channel personalization, A/B testing, publishing workflows, just to name a few. Now, there are three key things you need to look out for. First is completeness. Marketers have fallen into the trap of patching together multiple technologies to address weak points in their customer journey. The result is stitching different technologies together, and it's really a nightmare to manage all these integrations and multiple logins and APIs and licenses and upgrades, etc. The next one is a huge challenge that facing marketers is having the ability to capture and the behavioral data across these multiple devices. By having your automation technologies integrated with customer intelligence, this can be made really, it's easy and it's very possible. The most efficient way to do this is with everything happening in one platform and everything being integrated. And finally, you need the ability to reach customers in real time. The most common reasons visitors don't stick around are for two main reasons, two categories: pricing and timing. And the trick is to reach them before that engagement tails off. If your technology is limited to an API call every 24 hours, you've missed that boat. And timing is half the challenge. You really need to be real time always. Now, there are many platforms out there that can do this. At Bridgeline, we believe a smart channel is to have coverage for your revenue recovery, for your campaigns, real-time, intelligence-driven marketing automation, all integrated into a platform that, depending on the strategy, could have commerce or not. But our customers have been successful at executing these strategies by attracting users with robust campaign generation and SEO, engaging visitors with personalized content for both anonymous and known users, then nurturing these users with marketing automation and driving user conversions throughout relevant offers and messaging. It's important for them to look at the data then and learn what's working, what's not. Bottom line is that all this translates into a single unified system to build a fully personalized experience. So, zooming back out to our engagement and marketing strategies. This digital disruption has changed everything. This new world, a moment where everyone and everything is becoming connected, is already here. It's not something that's coming. It's here today. And to win, you have to deliver personalized and authentic messages at scale. And really, how to do that? How can you do that? It looks a lot like a conversation. It's easy to do if you're talking to about 10 customers or maybe 100, but doing it at scale is a challenge. You have to really listen, learn, and engage, and put those strategies that we talked about into effect in order to do it at scale. So we're going to close this. We're close to the end of our webinar. So let's summarize on how to go about engagement marketing. You have to become customer obsessed. You have to change your mindset beyond the technology that is used. You have to reach customers on their turf, where they are, where they hang out, and you have to map their micro moments and engage in real time. So now that we've gone through all this, think about, what will you start or stop doing or continuing doing now from this point moving forward. So actually, this concludes our presentation for today. And we can go through some Q&A. Let me see here. We have a few questions in the chat, so we will pull a few and make sure to respond to the rest, either with a call or an email. So if you want to call about this, please just put it into the question box. So let's see. This one here is from Julia from Target. So mobile has had a dramatic impact on consumer behavior. How has that customer journey changed? Well, that's a good question. People are now, they're always connected, right? And they can get information or get something done pretty much immediately, on demand. Because the individual moment is the now, it's now, that's the most important part of the customer journey. So that's one thing. Now is the most important part of the customer journey, as I mentioned. The other is that the customer journey is continuing after the purchase. People keep up on new ways on using a product or accessorizing or adding add-ons to it if it's a service. They also want to validate their purchase and read reviews even after they bought a product. So that's the second one. Those are the two major things. So let's go on to another question. Oh, wait. There's a follow-up question from Julia. So what are you seeing as the best ways for companies to engage with these consumers along this path? Okay, so that's a good follow-up question. We break up the path into a set of 4 general stages. The first is when they're just starting to consider a category or a product. The second is when they're evaluating and making comparisons. The third is when people are actually making a purchase and buying. And the last is the time after the purchase. Now, the key for marketers, marketing departments, is really being present in these kinds of environments. And whether that's a search engine or a video environment like YouTube or a retailer site or on social media or in the store, that's where it all has to happen. Each stage needs to be thought out thoroughly, pretty carefully, to determine the kinds of content that people might need. And remember that every moment along this journey, consumers are demonstrating their intent. And this is actually what we talked about explaining by micromoments. These are the most compelling opportunities along the journey. So let me give you an example of which happened to me a few days ago. And I think this is going to put it a lot in perspective. A micromoment for me is when I'm traveling and I want to get to my hotel room and not have to wait in line to check in. I'm already tired, frustrated, etc. So with the Starwood app, I can actually check in right on the app. And as soon as I enter the hotel, the beacons recognize that I'm there, and I can verify my identity just by logging into the app, actually with a fingerprint, because I have an iPhone. Now the app really gives me my room number, and because I'm a tech geek, if you also hold up the app on the entranceway, it'll show you which way to go to get to that actual room. Now that's an amazing way for a brand to help you in that micro moment. And there could be even more micro moments throughout this experience, right? Once you're in the room, and if it's late, the app can offer you room service depending on the time of day. If you've ordered from the app before, it could suggest your favorites, like Starbucks is doing. But it all has to do, though, with careful thinking through the compromises people face in different stages of these journeys. When they can't get something done or they can't get information to provide solutions that can really enable these people to get access to the functionality and the content in that moment. That's what it really comes down to. Taking the same logic for your company, for Target, you can offer a complimentary coffee or a cold drink if you know the time of day and temperature, as well as the spending habits and the frequency of that person, if they're in store, if they're in the actual store. Anyway, I think we went a little bit too deep on this one. We have time for one more question. Okay, how about this one from Jeff from Anchor Electronics? Okay, so what's the one thing you'd recommend marketers to do to take advantage of this new environment? Well, I think the thing is to reconceive the journey from end to end. It's easier to do that than going in and replacing something. And this can happen in large-scale companies as well. I always like to give examples because it's the best way. And the best way, actually this one is a good one. A solar company, I'm not going to use their name, but they really reconfigured their entire journey using most of these tools in a really great way, and it's seamless also. So they use Google Maps to locate houses and look at their roofs and they figured out the adequate size based on their images, and they are able to support how much solar power they can get from that roof. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit too technical, but I got a direct mail piece with a personalized message saying, "Hey Alex, are you interested in solar energy for your house at so-and-so address? Type in this URL because we think that you're a prime candidate." So this was a direct mail piece, right, in postal mail. So I took that, I put the URL that took me through a very personalized experience. I saw images of my house on Google Maps with solar power superimposed. And on that, it had calculations of how much money I'd save based on the assumed energy consumption. I could also click that page directly to someone who sees that exact same information and could walk me through the specific process. So when I logged back into the site, it really remembered me and where I was in the journey and immediately adapted. So they have completely thought through all the different moments of the journey and used the functionality and data available to make my experience very personalized and very simple and very relevant to my context. And as a marketer, I was blown away because I had been pitched so many times about this through cold calls and voicemails and people at the mall and the supermarket, and never paid any attention until that moment. And they actually got the sale within 48 hours. And this is really a really unique example of them mapping out the customer journey from the beginning all the way to the end. I think that's it for today. We don't have that much more time for any more questions. Greatly appreciate the time that you spent with us today. If you have any questions or want a copy of this presentation, please email us at marketing@bridgeline.com or contact me directly. We will be publishing this video on demand shortly. Thank you again.